I've now completed my second full year as a full-time realtor here in the GTA. Now, prior to that, I worked at Deloitte as an auditor of financial institutions. I traveled and photographed the world for a year, took this photo in Nepal on the Annapurna Trek, and I also worked as a software engineer for various startups. And with software engineering or with, Deloitte, you kind of knew what your role was going into pretty much every year, right? A1, A2 to senior to manager to partner. With software engineering, it'd be junior to senior to manager. You knew what the role was and you knew what you had to do to play that role. And let's be honest, most of the time you were probably shopping around for different jobs to get a salary increase. But with real estate, you can kind of go anywhere. Like, yes, the job to a certain extent is mundane. You're just selling homes, right? It's not cognitively challenging. You're not launching rockets into space, right? It's not cognitively challenging. But what is interesting is you get to run the show, right? You're the CEO. You get to make the decisions. You get to set the goals, set the vision. You're the CFO. You get to do your own taxes, your own budgeting. You're the CMO. You get to see how you want to do your lead generation, how to market yourself. You're the CTO. Maybe you want to add AI and automations into your business, but maybe you want to do none of the aforementioned things, right? Maybe you want to create leverage by hiring people to do that for you. It doesn't matter. The ball is in your court. And after 2 years in the game, I think this is my favorite aspect of being a realtor. You get to make the decisions. You get to decide what your criteria for success is, and nobody can tell you what to do. Like, the skill tree is just so large, and there's so many different branches. You could start a team and manage agents underneath you. You can go full lone wolf and do transactions that way. You can create YouTube videos and start a YouTube channel. Heck, you can even become a pastor. I know a pastor who's an icon agent at eXp Realty. Because you're an entrepreneur and it's your business, you can really run the show however you want. And in the last 2 years, I've done over 80 deals, 7 buy-sells, 73 leases, and we've moved over $5 million worth of real estate. And something that I've learned is that everything is a lesson. There are no bad things that happen to you. You just have to take it and learn from it. And I'll share briefly a few lessons that I've had with my major transactions. So for example, a buyer that I had, I showed the buyer pretty much, I kid you not, every condo in the Toronto core, like every single one, maybe like 50 condos. And at the time, yeah, sure, it was a little frustrating, but I totally understand. I want to see what's out there before I make a huge financial decision. I did too when I bought my home, right? And, at the time I could have been frustrated, but now looking back, it's like, wait a minute, no. That was a fantastic thing. Yes, it took a lot of time, but now you've seen every condo, literally with your own eyes. You've seen all the amenities, you've seen, what the concierge is like, you know where to go, like, the neighborhood, the block, like, oh, that building, they have, the one bedrooms have islands that are like this condo, they have 1 bedrooms, but the bedrooms are kind of crappy or they weren't built right. And like this intersection, maybe the neighborhood's not good. So the benefit was I've seen everything, and I could have taken it and been frustrated and dropped the client, but no, I worked and I learned something out of it. Now, another seller of mine, we priced high and maybe we didn't sell the transaction. Yes, I was stressed at the time, but looking back, it's like, there's no house that won't sell. Just drop the price. It's not that deep, to be honest, right? Like, if you drop the price to a certain point, you're gonna have buyers. So there was a lesson there. Don't stress. Another client of mine who was looking to buy, I feel like I knew this buyer pretty well. We vibed, similar kind of personality to me. So it's like I knew what the buyer was looking for. And when I was looking at MLS, I saw maybe I handpicked some properties for him, but one property kind of like was glowing on the screen. It sounds weird, but genuinely it popped out on me onto the screen. And that was eventually the property that he bought. And it's crazy. How did I know that? Because I know what I want, and he was very similar to me. So it's not just like, auto email some listings to your client. No, you gotta know what your client is looking for. And then finally, another seller of mine, it was like managing, multiple personalities. Yeah, I had to manage the seller's expectations, but there was a third party that was involved in the transaction. So it's like, okay, I have to manage the seller's expectations. I have to manage the seller's, third party. And then I have to manage all the co-op agents. And then I have to think about, the buyer. And then I obviously have to think about myself. So there's like 5 people in this transaction, and you kind of have to like manage everybody. So that was another great learning experience. So everything that is stressful at the time is actually a great learning experience if you have that mindset. And I talked about this in my first year, and if you want to watch that, I'll put a link in the description below. It's like, yeah, I could have made more money. I probably could have done 100 deals in the last 2 years if I just fucking went at it. But what's the point? Really, what's the point? The whole reason why I joined this industry was that I could control the lever of effort, and I get to dictate how hard or not hard I work, right? So yeah, I could have made 100 deals, right? But then I would have sacrificed time and my ability to enjoy. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to enjoy my life. That's the whole reason why I'm a realtor now. It's like, I have the lifestyle that I want. Why not enjoy the fruits of my labor now, right? So for example, I got engaged. Me and my fiance, we did a huge 10,000 kilometer road trip. We drove all the way as far as Vegas and back. We visited 13 states, 3 provinces. We drove with our dogs, 2 big German Shepherds. We drove the equivalency of 1/4 of the circumference of the earth, right? I came back, I worked on my golf game. My golf game is impeccable now. Some of you don't think so, but I'll see you on the links for those of you who know me. And then, I ran like a maniac. I probably ran like close to 1,000 kilometers this year. I did a 50K followed by a marathon, followed by a 30K. I did other things than just work. As Cree Bratton said, if I can't scuba, what's all this about? What am I working towards? And the ability to pull the lever of effort and reward was one of my favorite things of being a realtor in year 1. And it continues to be one of the greatest aspects of being a full-time realtor going into year 2 and probably until the day I die. But it's not all like sunshine and rainbows, right? It has been a grind. I've been grinding for the last 2 years. Outside of like taking, time off or whatever, pretty much every waking moment is me thinking, how do I move the ball forward? How do I get the ball closer to the hole? And yeah, it's been a grind. There have been setbacks. Like, I've probably been ghosted more times than I can count. I've worked with hundreds of people. Not all of them lead to a deal, so I've wasted my time there. So many people have just been rude and said no, or went with another realtor, or like, I've showed 10 homes they want to buy, but then they move cities. It's like, these things happen, and that's a part of the game, and that's what I signed up for. And if I could show this video to, when I was studying at Humber College, if I could just give that version of me some advice and the things that I've learned, the biggest thing I think would be, money is made, and I'm stealing this from Owen Cook, and he's absolutely right. Money is made in high states of momentum and focus. And it's difficult as a realtor because you get these large commission checks. It's easy to take your foot off the gas once you receive these commission checks. But in actuality, what you should be doing is, when you receive these commission checks, you should actually be doubling down, because that's when you're at your highest state of momentum. So there have been times in the past where I've made a lot of money certain months, and then I'll take my foot off the gas, I'll go golf, whatever. And then the next month immediately, it's like, man, where did all that momentum go, right? So that would be the biggest thing, is that when you are succeeding as a realtor, instead of like chilling, which, you gotta chill, but instead of chilling, it's like, go double down, because now is the time. Continue that momentum. Another big thing that I've learned, and this is what Bob Proctor says, rest in peace, it's totally true, is that you really perform to your self-image, right? So how well you do in real estate, and I know like Treb just announced that it had its first decrease in membership, maybe in a long time. But like, there's still people succeeding, right? And it all has to do with yourself. It has nothing to do with the market. There's 6 million people in the GTA. You don't think there's a piece of the pie that someone could have? You don't think that the market could allow for one more realtor, if that's you, to succeed? Of course it can. So it's important to have a high self-image. And there are times where I didn't have a high self-image, and you always perform to the level of your own self-image. So if you think you're worth, 100,000 per year, right? If you sell 100,000 by March, you're going to do nothing for the rest of the year, because that's what your self-image is at. And, same point, if you have sold $0 and your self-image is at 100K, you sold $0 until September, well, now you're gonna work your ass off from September till the end of the year because you need to make that 100K, right? So it's basically like the self-image is like a governor in your mind. And the interesting thing is you get to create your own self-image. And with anything, with reps at the gym or running or whatever, it takes effort, it takes conscious effort, and it takes work. So work on that self-image. And the last thing I'll say is, it's not that deep. For God's sake, you're just selling houses, right? People have been doing this job for hundreds of years. I'm not trying to make life multiplanetary. I'm not trying to remove the deep state. I'm not trying to do anything like revolutionary for mankind here. I'm just selling homes. Let's be honest here. Us as realtors, we're just selling homes. We're not doctors, right? So it's like, don't take it so serious. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. You'll have ups, you'll have, downs. That's just the way it is. Enjoy both. You never know what's going to happen the next day. And like I've said in previous videos, this job is not for everyone. It's probably not for most people, but it could be right for you. It's definitely right for me, which is fantastic. It's like, the hardest part was figuring out what to do. And now that I know what to do, it's just working on building those skill trees, right? It's focusing on what I have been doing, which is honestly quite a relief. Because if I was still trying to figure out what I want to do at this age, time is ticking. Well, okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. That's it for year 2. I'll make another one of these. I'll probably make another one of these every year. In my first year, I made one every month. That was a little too much, but we will make one of these videos every year going forward. And thank you if you've been watching from the start. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you're a new viewer, thank you for watching as well. And if you're a realtor and you have any questions about the industry or the job, hey, my info is down below. Feel free to reach out, and I'd love to have a chat with you. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.